Hi folks, HR Funk here, with a midweek update to cover a few different things, beginning with, how about that new intro? For years now, I've been using my daughter's original piano music to accompany my intro, and lately the piece that you just heard was recorded by my son. He also wrote that piece, and he played every instrument you hear. The guitars, the drums, all that is his playing, and then he mixed it together into one piece, and I've now got that as an optional intro to use. Now, for those of you who like the piano music, don't worry, I'm still going to be using that. But once in a while, I'm going to rotate this one into the mix just to have a little bit more of a rock and roll flair. Also, in this midweek update, I want to cover a product that I've been using now for several months, and it might be of interest to some of you who are using the Leupold Deltapoint Pro on a defensive pistol. Now, there is an issue with the Deltapoint Pro, and I covered this in my initial review of this optic, which now is about 3 years old, I believe. I've been using the Deltapoint Pro on my everyday duty pistol for this entire time, this entire 3 years, and overall I'm very happy with it, but something that's always made me uneasy is the fact that the rear of the body of the Deltapoint Pro is so high that it actually obscures the rear sight. And on my pistol here, these are suppressor height sights, and the body of the Deltapoint Pro is still so high that you can't use those rear sights if you would need to in a situation where the optic itself was disabled. And Leupold does market an auxiliary rear sight that attaches to the rear of the Deltapoint Pro, and it's a fully adjustable unit and appears to be a very nice sight, but it always struck me as a little bit more than I need on a defensive pistol. I'm not going to be using this particular firearm for target shooting or anything like that. What I really need is a dependable, rugged, auxiliary sight that's there when I need it. If for some reason I'm in a defensive situation, I've got to use my firearm, and for some reason the Deltapoint Pro is not operating properly, I need something that I can just use to try to shoot myself out of that situation, not something I'm going to try to use to win a target match. Enter Galloway Precision. Galloway Precision offers an auxiliary rear sight that fits the slot on the rear of the Deltapoint Pro, and it's something that when I first saw it, I thought it seemed like it was just not really enough, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought this is actually a pretty good option. It gives you just enough of a rear sight to be able to use in that defensive application to put shots on target while you're trying to extricate yourself from that situation. And it's really not more than you need. It's not adjustable in any way or anything like that. It also costs, I believe, $8 as opposed to the $75 price tag for the Leupold auxiliary unit. This sight does have one thing that you need to be aware of, and that is, as you look at it, you'll notice that the top of this auxiliary rear sight is higher than the top of the standard pistol sights. So that means as you're shooting this, if you can see a proper sight picture, meaning the tip of the front sight is even with the tip of this auxiliary rear sight, you're going to be shooting high at anything other than very close distances. Now, if you're very farther away than extremely close distances in a defensive encounter and your optic is down on your firearm, that's probably going to be a situation where you want to disengage and, if necessary, transition to another firearm. If you are up close and you've got to fire and you need something just to be able to put shots on target very quickly, this auxiliary unit should be perfectly fine for that. It installs very easily by loosening the screw on either side of the Deltapoint Pro and removing the spacer that ships with this particular optic, and then simply sliding the Galloway Precision unit into place and tightening those screws back down. Installation of this sight took maybe 2 minutes. And as I said, I've been using this for some time now. It goes through all of the rigors of everyday use with bumps and dings and this and that, and so far it's worked just fine. For putting shots on target at close range, it works. And if ever I find myself in a situation where my Deltapoint Pro has gone down for some reason, it does give me an auxiliary sighting option. And the last thing for this midweek update is the announcement of a live stream, and that's going to be tonight. This is February 17th of 2021, and I'm going to fire up the computer at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's a cold winter's night, there's nothing else going on, and there's really not much on TV these days. So I hope you'll join us for the live stream, and we'll all have a good time. So that's going to do it for this midweek update. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you order anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off anything you purchase from Optics Planet. See you next time, folks. Until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.